Okay, after where no agreement has been reached, after that formulation, continue dialogue. No, sorry. No, at the very end of this first paragraph, just after first paragraph, after dialogue, can we add before taking a decision on the nomination file? This was contained in your original formulation, which was distributed earlier. For some reason, it went away. And with that, we are fine with the rest. Thank you.
This was not in my text. This was in an original text, I think.
Okay, sorry for that. Then I just wanted to get it back because it's in a way obvious that this decision has to be made before the decision of nomination file. I mean, this is a part of our problem because when you say decision, only four modalities were explained. So,
but read the paragraph. It's complete contradiction. Because a line before we're saying that the committee might decide otherwise, and then we're saying that they should recommend continue dialogue before taking a decision. I don't know whether I'm the only one that sees the contradiction here. South Africa, you have the floor.
Yeah, no, colleagues, I think we are really exhausting your generosity, Chair. Let's be honest. Views have been put across. And when I look at this paragraph, two important points from Japan have been incorporated. The first one was whether to say it should request. Remember, we're arguing about consider requesting. And we wanted to take that further, and I'm sure other delegations wanted to take that further. But I think there was consensus that we would use this stronger word, should. And I think it's very, and from the very beginning, that was our understanding that Japan really wanted this. And we came from far to accommodate it. And again, we meshed two repetitive sentences with due regard to the committee's prerogatives and unless otherwise decided by the committee, unless otherwise, again, it's Japan. I think if we are to move, colleagues, we really need to meet one another halfway. As I said, as the Africa Group, we are concerned about this overqualification. In fact, if we go back to agreed paragraphs, there's caveats and caveats and caveats that are built there, including us conceding to amending the operational guidelines. We have given a lot, and I think it will require all of us now to agree. We understand the essence of what we want to say here. In any case, whatever we say will be subjected to the legal scrutiny. Nothing that we will say here will pass without it being verified as legally correct. So I propose, Chairperson, that we now adopt this without the last edition by Japan and that we do not amend it any further. That's my submission, Chair.
Thank you. Well, I'm putting this for adoption without the addition because the addition is simply impossible. It contradicts the first part of the paragraph. I would like to know, I know that Palestine wanted to speak. Would you please?
Well, actually, my brother from South Africa explained it very well, and you also raised the issue. The last amendment by Japan, unfortunately, it contradicts with the first part of the paragraph. So I support the proposal of South Africa. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I would like to give the floor. I would like to try to our colleague from Togo and see whether they have dealt with their connection problem. Togo, est-ce que vous pouvez prendre la parole pour qu'on voit si on peut vous entendre?
Togo, can you please take the floor to see if we can hear you? Togo. Unfortunately, we really can't hear you at all, Togo. Very sorry about that. So Togo supports Palestine's proposal. Okay, we have taken note of that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Togo. Now I'd like to give the floor to the Republic of Korea, followed by Japan.
Korea, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam. We fully support the proposal of South Africa. But we would like to emphasize again, in any case, this agreement should not interpreted as allowing any veto power in our nomination process of World Heritage, which is against the convention. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. I now give the floor to the Ambassador of Japan, to be followed by Kuwait. That's going to be my last speaker, and I would like to put this paragraph for adoption. Japan, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. Also, I would like to appreciate many of the points raised by Ambassador of South Africa and also Palestine. Particularly Ambassador of South Africa, we have been talking about this for quite some time on very many occasions. Yes, but I very much appreciate that. The only thing I wanted to say, in fact, was, of course, this is not a veto power, but nonetheless, we have to take a very cautious approach to issues like this. Having said all of that, yes, we accept. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kuwait, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Just to say that, we support our the proposal from our brothers from South Africa, and we're okay with what's on the screen. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Can we clean up this paragraph so I can put it for adoption? Okay. I mean, this is the most important paragraph. So read it well. I want to make sure that we're all happy with it. Everybody is. 1, 2. Adopted. Thank you all. I think you all showed flexibility. Before continuing, I think Turkey has asked for the floor. You have the floor, sir.
Madam Chair, can we see this section cleaned up so the final
Absolutely.
version so that Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
took the words out of my and I wanted to put the whole section to you before I move to the other issue. Oh, sorry. We're going to scroll from the beginning and yes, please. This is the part we adopted earlier. Okay. Colombia, please, and then I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just a little thing de rédaction parce qu'en français, c'est pas pareil. En anglais, si on dit, est-ce qu'on peut...
In French, it's a bit different from English.
No, scroll up, then.
Up, then.
Yes, exactly. In the paragraph we just agreed in, which is okay, but whether did we? No, yeah. No. There. See, where no agreement has been reached, no prerogatives, and unless otherwise decided by the committee, it should request the concerned states. Is that well
Yeah.
written?
Yeah, it being the committee. Yes,
Oh, all right. It doesn't sound weird, but if it's okay, it's okay. That
we checked with an
because in
English.
French it's better written, I think. Yeah.
No, it's
Then
correct.
again, if the English speaker
Thank you.
said so.
Thank you. Palestine,
No, I have no amendment, but I wanted to make it clear. Even if we adopted and the majority agreed that there is a time limit for the contestation that is mentioned in the text a little bit higher, which is 30 of June, it should be clear that contestation could take place at any time before, during, and after the nomination. It is not I mean, this contestation here that we are talking about, it is meant to be transmitted and considered by the committee. But any state party may contest any nomination at any time
Yes.
before or after.
as provided for in the guidelines.
Exactly.
No, that's absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so can we now move to our other subject? Yes, Turkey.
Sorry, Madam Chair, is it the start of the paragraph for the contestation concerning the newly submitted nomination here? Can you show me the start of this?
The start.
Is it the start? The part will start with option 1, or all the way up there is some kind of Japanese paragraph? I don't know if.
No, the Japanese paragraph was.
This one.
Yes, this one was there to be kept if there is no agreement reached.
So it will be deleted. as
So it was decided that this one will be deleted. That's why I didn't come back.
just to be on the safe side.
You were right. Thank you. I would like you now to move to the part of the decision of the open-ended working group recommendations, where there are 2 paragraphs that are similar to the ones we adopted in the decision we are recommending to the committee. There is one where we recommend to the World Heritage Committee to adopt the following draft decision at its 44th session. And there is what was pending was this Norwegian amendment. And there was a French amendment. The French amendment wanted us to put in the decision that the operational guidelines were to be amended. And then I chose to put the Norwegian amendment that would recommend to the committee to further identify the best way possible to implement the guiding principles whilst fully respecting the World Heritage Convention, which is in an amendment that was proposed by Norway. So now I would put for your consideration and adoptions these 4 paragraphs before we deal with the issue of the definitions, which would be our last issue. Yes, Ambassador, you have the floor.
Only regarding the amendment by Norway, I think it's just a question also, but I think it's a kind of a ping pong with the committee. When we address such issues to the committee, very often, and this is the proof, the committee says, okay, let's constitute a working group, let's reflect about it, and it will go and come again. So we are here and we thought about this thing. I'm wondering, is it again necessary to ask again to the committee to reflect about the best way to implement these guiding principles for which the committee requested an open-ended working group? They will request again an open-ended.
Not under my chairmanship anyway.
But
No,
this is
but-
the question. Is it necessary? That's the question. Maybe Norway can help. You can help maybe, Madam Chair.
I can give the floor to Norway, but as I explained last time, we are providing general guidelines, and the committee might want to decide on the implementation, whether they want to put them in a guide, annex them to the nomination. I don't know. I mean, but there is a step on facilitating implementation. As I said last time, there are some state parties who believe that in order to comply with all these, they can pick one or two of these, yes, and implement them, not all of them. What happens if they do that? I mean, the committee has to give some instructions somehow, and I don't think it will necessitate to create a working group. The job was done. This is it. This is it. But there might be some practical issues to decide on implementation that they can take at the same session and add to this decision. And I do not see at all that this would require a new working group. But I will let Norway will speak, and then I'll give the floor to South Africa. Norway, you have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for giving Norway the floor. Now, I will only take the floor in order to support what you just said, because the sole meaning of our amendment is just to make sure that there are someone responsible to take this process further if needed. But we're not saying that we want a new open-ended working group to continue or anything else. It's just to make sure that there will be taken care of if there are new questions to address. Thank you.
Thank you, Norway. Ambassador, South Africa, you have the floor.
Yes, no, we reflected deeply on this one, Madam Chair. And of course, what compounded this, our exercise was obviously before we agreed on the paragraph on the amendment of the operational guidelines. And I think an agreement on the identified changes has set us a little bit at ease, okay? Because remember, we said to you, we'll agree to the changes provided we are clear, and that becomes part of the package. Now, you'd also agree, I'm sure you'll agree with me, Chairperson, that this issue of sites of memory have been discussed. We come from far. We wouldn't want to travel that path again. The truth of the matter is that every paragraph that we have all agreed to is loaded. It was preceded by weeks and weeks of negotiations. 5 years from now, when people read this paragraph, they would not have a background to each and everything that preceded them. And our concern is that this paragraph number 4 might open up an avenue that people will not understand the context within which this was said. Yes, there's institutional memory, there's records, yes, but we all know. So we would rather recommend, Chair, that perhaps these what our partners, and I refer to knowing partners because they are the generous supporters of Africa in the heritage field, I must say, generous. So I refer to them as our partners in a way, perhaps as a start in the chair's report, these issues be incorporated there. I think in that way we will be comfortable because at least the chair can put the context better than when it's just reflected this way. When it's like this, it's like it's tasking further work, and it will open up this discussion for negotiations again in the future. I do understand what you are saying. For example, we read a lot of material that was written on the subject. There was even a suggestion of the Secretariat amending the resource manuals to give effect to these guidelines. In fact, if anything else, we could even task the Secretariat to take the necessary measures for the implementation of this, because once the committee adopts these principles, as state parties were done, what is left is for the Secretariat to give effect to the implementation of this through the instruments at their disposal. So I recommend that these issues be put in your paragraph, and want to appeal to Norway.
You mean in my report, not
in your report? Yeah, this paragraph, and not only this paragraph, the issues that you raise be incorporated in your report, which would remain part of the records. Thanks.
So basically what you're proposing is the deletion of the paragraph.
I'm respectfully proposing the deletion of this paragraph because it can be subject to different interpretation. Thanks.
Thank you. Any comments? Any reactions to this proposal? As you heard, the ambassador of South Africa is proposing that I take up this in my report to the committee rather than in the decision. I have a request from Palestine followed by Australia. Palestine, you have the floor.
Very quickly, I understand the scope of the proposal of Norway. It is absolutely defendable, and you explained it, but I think it is better to incorporate this paragraph in your report as mentioned by my brother from South Africa. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Australia to be followed by Egypt. Australia, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, thank you. Australia was inclined to support the proposal by Norway because we also agreed that there needed to be some further consideration of implementation, but I think just in the interest of reaching consensus and in recognition of the hard work that has been achieved through this committee, we will support the inclusion of this in your report. We would also just note with a word of slight caution that there is a need. These guiding principles are very well drafted. They will guide the process, but perhaps we should all have some consideration of a process of reflection and review and how they are working indeed to deliver the outcomes that we hope that they will achieve. So perhaps in your report, you can also reflect that sentiment in the sense that these are indeed just guiding principles, and at present they're not binding. A committee can decide something, but that doesn't bind a state party in any way. I will accept the decision and the agreement of this committee by consensus around whether to include this paragraph or not, but some reference to a further process needs to be referenced at somewhere in the documentation of this group, whether it's in the decision or the report itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Australia. The floor now is with Egypt. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't understand what is the problem with the guidelines that has been negotiated for over more than 7 sessions of the working group. If we already agreed on all the phrases and the guidelines, so I think now it's time to present these comments or these guidelines to the committee. So I support what was expressed by South Africa and supported by Palestine, that this comment of Norway on this phrase can be moved to your oral report and keep the decision without this phrase. That will be, I think, the best solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, nobody said that there were any problems concerning the guiding principles. We're very happy with what we are going to soon, I hope, adopt. There are issues that decisions to be taken on their implementation, but I will raise this in my oral report if this is what the group prefers. I have a request from the floor again from Norway to be followed by Zimbabwe. Norway, you have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving Norway the floor once again. I just wanted to underline that we didn't want to create any misunderstandings or several interpretations. So we are okay with this paragraph to be moved to the report, and we do mirror what Australia said. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, madam. And I give the floor now to Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for leading this process. We really appreciate. Just to support the proposal by South Africa, that perhaps this should be in your report. I thank you.
Thank you, madam. Okay, then I guess it's decided. I will move for the deletion of this paragraph. Any objections from the room or online? I see none. Deleted. Can I then adopt the other paragraphs in this section? Do you all agree? Adopted. Thank you. So now we move to the final issue we have to take a decision about, and it is the issue of the definitions. As you recall, the first time I put a paper for your consideration, I had put these decisions that I pasted and copied from the Christina Cameron report, I think, or one of these reports that we all mentioned. And we had put them outside of the decisions, and I was not proposing them for adoption. But when the discussion started, several states parties insisted that we adopt the definitions, even if they were not in the decision, because they will be always referred to, and that they should be adopted anyway, wherever they're placed. So we spent a lot of time and effort, and we adopted them. But in the end, as I said, that at the end of the process, I will come back to you and ask you whether they will remain in the report, or you want to move them in the decisions, as at the time there were very different proposals. Some were insisting to put them in the decisions, others preferring to keep them out in the report. Now is the time to decide. Palestine, you have the floor, sir.
Je vais vous surprendre, je ne vais pas répondre à la question.
No surprise, I'm not going to answer this question because for Palestine, whether it's in or not, we have no problem. We have a small preference for inclusion, but we're really open and flexible. So it's not about this, but a question perhaps. Could we just have a clarification, please?
Scroll the screen to go up to paragraph 8. Yes, here, stop, please. I think, yeah, that's it. Further decides. My question, je veux simplement avoir une...
I just want to have some explanation of this because
Sites of memory associated with the conflict submitted by 1st February 2022 and considered complete will be processed under the procedure and criteria applicable at the time of their submission. Pourquoi on utilise at the time of their submission?
why do we have at the time of submission? Has there been a change since the 1st of February? Could you clarify that, please?
Question, and I didn't have the text with me, so I didn't know what you were talking about. Then I saw the text, and yes, there is an explanation. It's because we had this debate about these 6 files that were submitted, and when we adopted this decision at the last session, we wanted absolute clarity that these 6 nominations will be that what we are adopting now will not apply to these 6 nominations that you will find in footnotes. And yes, there are some changes. You know, the contestation mechanism that we adopted right now does not exist. Yes, but it is simply to have clarity. It's really a way of making sure that there will be no, because you know that the thing that was raised last time is that some of these nomination could be referred or deferred, and they have to be considered exactly as they were submitted, and this is why we've put them in the footnote to make sure that there is no misunderstanding, that the things will not apply to them. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you. I'll go back now to the definition part, and I'll give the floor. Who took it first? Serbia, you will have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor. I will speak about the place of definitions. As you said, it has been a long process, and to come to the end of this process, and we discussed about these definitions, and also with the understanding that it will not be part of decision. So we respect and we support your call not to reopen debate about that, and in that sense, we strongly support option 1, not to be part of decision. Definitions should not be part of decision. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. I now give the floor to Morocco. Ambassador, you have the floor.
Merci, madame.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I agree with what Serbia has said, but maybe I'll be rather unpleasant. So not against you, Chair, of course. On the contrary, I want to pay tribute to the efforts that you've made or are continuing to make to reach consensus. But here we're talking about something that is a highly sensitive issue, a very important, existential importance, I would say, for some. And we need to be absolutely clear and be responsible. We have to reflect the reality of member states' concerns. We have to be very careful when we're talking about definitions, in particular when we talk about conflict, because there's no UN international tool or instrument that has really defined this. So we have to be very careful about this. Secondly, and this is where I'll be slightly unpleasant, this paragraph was a sort of catch-all. We just threw everything into it. I've got nothing against that because there is a lot, but we refer to events, whereas what's here is more about concepts and situations and principles of international law, potential events, or each of which is specific in a particular situation of interest to specific member states, and I'm okay with that. That's all fair enough. I have no issue. But the absence of rigor and clarity is very hazardous because it doesn't properly represent the situation that we're all interested in as UN member states, let's say actions or events impacting nation states' territorial integrity. That's not in the paragraph. So either that should be in, because we have to realize that we are not talking about guidelines or ancillary issues, forms of it. We're going to the very heart of nation states' sovereignty. We have to be very careful. And here I'm following the instructions of my capital. Obviously, I respect the sovereign decisions of all member states, but we have to be very careful in this particular area. I know the chair didn't want to reopen the debate on this paragraph, but it's of existential importance for us. And I thought it was vital to say what I'm saying now. And perhaps because events or actions that might impact states' territorial integrity is something that concerns all UN members and UNESCO members. And I think everyone must be aware of that.
These are serious matters. We give a definition. There is no exact definition yet. Each situation is different. There are principles of international law that have been mentioned, and I respect them, whether mentioned by Palestine or other states. But the existential question of events or action that could attack the territorial integrity of states needs to be taken into account. So either we add a sentence to complete this definition and we all agree on it, and this could be easy, even though we didn't want to reopen the debate, or I don't support this paragraph, and we disagree on the fact that it appears in a decision, draft decision. And I'm sorry I'm being so direct, but I think the importance of the question that we are debating today really requires this clarification. Thank you, Madam President, Chair, sorry. Thank you very much. And now I'll give the floor, and I'm sorry. I think the ambassador of Palestine was asking the sentence that we wanted to add among the definitions, event or action that could impact the territorial integrity of the states, period. Regarding this amendment, if everyone agrees, then there's no problem at all. If the entire room today agrees on this amendment and there's no objection, I agree to reopen the question. And we have to be told exactly where you want to put it. I am open to where it can be inserted, events or actions that could potentially prejudice the territorial integrity of states. Where? Could you just repeat at this dictation speed? Event or action that could threaten the territorial integrity of the states is proposed by the interpreter, who's not an English A.
Mais on doit mettre une virgule là, non? Et, plutôt et, parce que c'est le dernier.
And before the sentence,
Voilà.
can we scroll up so we can see it clearly on the screen in French and English?
J'hésite entre
I am hesitating whether or not continuing down the list or of countries supporting or asking if there are objections. So I'll start with objections. Is anyone objecting to this amendment? Because if there is, then I'll continue down the list of speakers. No, this is a question. Yeah, you have the floor.
It's a question, and it's a question of principle. Are we opening? I think because I want to understand.
I'm going to explain again.
Yeah. Are we opening the whole or what?
No, I'm not opening the whole. I am saying for this definition. Anyone else wishes to take the floor? I see no one. So I am going to put the whole text for adoption. Cleaned up. We're going to take a couple of minutes. We'll scroll it down from the top to bottom slowly. And at the end, we'll put it for adoption. So we will remove all the options we eliminated. Can we scroll down slowly now? Oh, so this is scrolling up, sorry. It's scrolling down. Yes, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, just to clarify, that the question of a time limit for contestation concerns the nominations newly submitted, but not the tentative list. The tentative list, it could be contested at any moment, as it is in our text, just to keep it in mind and to make it clear to everybody. That's all.
Just because, I mean, you can't put a deadline. Sites on the tentative list can stay there forever until the
decades.
state's party decides to submit the nomination. So it's difficult to put a deadline.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry?
The last line, the penultimate line, there's a deletion which needs to be deleted. To the members of the committee.
No, we can't disappear. Please, no, don't touch it.
Okay.
This is the amendment to the guidelines that we're doing. So we're saying that we're
Okay.
deleting this from the amendment.
Right, okay.
Yes, well, with all this now, are you ready to adopt the whole text? Online, in the room? I see no objection. 1, 2. I mean, bravo to all of you. Thank you. I will give you the floor. South Africa, you have the floor.
No, thank you, Madam Chair. When we were approached informally that you've been nominated to chair, we were not sure whether to be happy or to be afraid. In fact, my deputy and advisor was saying, hey, she's a tough cookie. So I really didn't know, but I said, you know what we wanted? We wanted someone who would drive the process in a fair manner, in a balanced manner, but would be able to call the House to order when it was necessary. You fit that description. On behalf of the Africa Group, to thank you for the manner in which you conducted the proceedings of this and the outcome that has been arrived at. It's a win-win, it's a compromise for all of us, but you are also, you have also produced a document that will become one of the most important documents in the records and of the decision-making organ of this body. So I want to thank you wholeheartedly on behalf of my colleagues, but to also thank the colleagues who work with you in the bureau, Ambassador of Austria, Ambassador of Japan. Although sometimes it's often that the mood in the meeting reflected the bureau, but I think I want to thank you for also being patient with us, who were supposed to assist you, but sometimes we made things difficult for you. And one, thank you for not losing your patience. So thank you so much. And I want to thank the colleagues as well for the very collegial spirit in which the discussions were conducted. What is left now is for the members of the World Heritage Committee to in good faith ensure the safe passage of this outcome document to the 44th session of the World Heritage Committee. Thank you so much. I think you deserve a big round of applause. I think we should.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador. Give the floor to the Ambassador of Palestine.
I'm not going to manipulate the floor. There are so many requests, and I suppose it will be in the same vein.
However, I just wanted to say that this work was honestly very difficult, but it was extremely important. And I don't think about the committee and how they're going to handle what we've decided, but I'm thinking about the state parties that will have to implement this when they constitute their files. This is the most important thing, more important than the decisions that will be taken by the committee. And then I won't repeat what my colleague just said. I'm not very good at complimenting people, but I agree. You did an amazing job. I think this is one of the working groups that will be remembered at UNESCO. There are a few working groups like this. You can maybe remember the World Heritage Committee seat distribution, and you remember the whole story probably. And then the Memory of the World, that was a difficult working group. And then today, your group that you were able to manage brilliantly. And so congratulations again. And my colleague devanced me by adding for asking again. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I give the floor now to Morocco. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Of course, I'm adding to those who taken this floor before me and congratulate you. And this is not just about a personal friendship. You were a reference really in this organization. And I'm very happy that you were able to spearhead this working group, because this was not an easy mission. We knew that there would be serious difficulties, but you were able to conclude the work of this group in an extraordinary way. With your personality, with your talent, with your perseverance, with your patience, you always work towards consensus. And today we have been able to all agree on the conclusion of this working group. Again, thank you very much, and congratulations, Madam Chairperson. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Japan, you have the floor.
Well, my compliments have all been mentioned already, so I don't want to repeat all those things. But honestly, when we started this process back in January, I wasn't quite sure if we can come to an agreement. And when World Heritage Committee was postponed, okay, I think we have several more months to go. And again, even at that time, I wasn't sure if we can come to the end. Well, as many have said, I think you did it very well. I had some experience as a chair last year, but you did far better. And you had a very clear vision as to where we are landing. And then, I cannot say enough gratitude to you, because this was, I think it was a very difficult issue. For us, it was a very difficult issue, which required some, agreement acceptance at the level of the Prime Minister. This was a very difficult issue from my perspective, but we are here. We are able to finish it. And also express our gratitude to the colleagues in the Bureau, Ambassador of South Africa in particular, and others, Austria, Kenya. So we were actually a good team. But at the same time, Madam Chair, for the last time, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Ambassador. I give the floor to Serbia, to be followed by Norway and Kenya, and then I'm closing the list. And I'll just say a few words to thank you all. Serbia to be followed by Norway. Serbia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to echo what has been said by previous speakers in thanking you and praising your work and the transparency of your work and the way you manage these debates, which were very, very difficult. We hope that committee members will also be aware of the sensitivity of all the discussions, and that they will have in mind that it was very fruitful but very long and difficult debate. We would also like to thank all the colleagues for cooperation and for the spirit of consensus, and also the Secretariat and all of you who supported this work. So thank you all.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Norway.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving Norway the floor. Of course, I would like to mirror what the previous speakers have said. I think it has been a meeting, many meetings with fruitful discussions based on mutual respect, and I hope that we will bring with us the spirit of the discussions further on. I would particularly like to thank you, Madam Chair, and the Bureau, and of course the World Heritage Center, because you've all been available for questions and discussions in between the meetings as well. So you prove the value of dialogue. So just thank you and keep safe.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Kenya.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for giving me the floor. I must confess that Kenya has been particularly quiet and not very active in the discussions, mainly because we are the rapporteur and we were trying to be as neutral as possible and not to seem as though we were pulling towards one side. But I'm glad that I hope everybody feels heard. Madam Chair, you have been one of the best chairs we had, because when we started, it didn't look as though we'd get here, but here we are. Warm congratulations to you and to everybody else for accepting to have consensus. The work of the rapporteur was becoming very difficult. It was becoming extremely difficult, because at some point we didn't know what we were going to capture and what we were not going to capture. But here we are at the end of it, and we look forward to passing this particular document that has taken a lot of reading. I have learned a lot. I've had to read a lot to be able to follow up the discussions. And warm congratulations to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Helen. Well, now it's really up to me. No, not up to me. You want to speak? And after?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you'll speak after.
Okay, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the permission of ADG, I also wanted to really thank you on behalf of all my colleagues for taking us to the end of this process. And as you have seen, one thing which we believe it's important is that the Secretariat role is really to support the member state in this kind of exercise, but not to be in the role of the member states. And I think we have seen the results, and that this is in the spirit that we would like to continue supporting the work of the Secretariat. And I really want to thank also you, the members of the group, because with the chairperson, you have given us more time now to prepare the working documents that will go to the next session of the World Heritage Committee. So thank you again, Madam Chairperson, and thank you to all of you.
Thank you, Anna. Thanks a lot. Dear colleagues, in reality, those who should be thanked are yourselves, because when I was approached to chair this group by the person sitting here on my right, ADG Culture, I had no idea what this was all about, because I had not followed the discussions on this before in or outside the committee. So I was kind of, yes, why not? I didn't realize what mess it was. And then very soon after, I realized that it was a very hot potato, in fact, that was dumped on my lap. And big challenge, but I really got a lot of help by all of you, by the Bureau, and the Bureau was constituted in a way where all the different positions were represented. So it was very easy to see already how to drive a consensus. I want to thank of course, the ADG and all the members of the World Heritage Center. I made their life quite difficult. I bombarded them with WhatsApps until midnight sometimes. I think he's going to be the happiest one that this group is finished. And want to thank all the team, the technicians, the scripters, the interpreters. Everyone here has been extremely efficient and very passionate about driving us through this process. But really, thank you, because the atmosphere, because after taking on the responsibility of this chairmanship, I went and started watching and reading what was happened before, and I saw this was very tense and very heated, and wondered whether I would need a bulletproof jacket to come to this meeting in the beginning. But I think the atmosphere was really excellent, and all the interactions. That is why it was not a bad idea to have a time between one meeting and the other. It allowed things to mature. It allowed everybody to read more. It allowed more contacts and consultations between all of you, and facilitated our results today. I want to thank all those who are online and have been very patient with us, because we tend to concentrate on people in the room, but they have been extremely active, extremely present, and hope that everybody is happy with the result. I know that when you reach a consensus on a subject that difficult, it's a compromise. So no, not everyone is very, very happy, but I think nobody is sad or disappointed. I'm sure that there is something in it for everyone. And I hope, for me, what is the most important is that this is going to help states parties, the advisory bodies. I thank them for being here and listening to all this debate, because it's going to help also in the future of work on all this. And I hope that all this is going to preserve the convention and preserve UNESCO from problems and from conflict, and that it's going to facilitate preparing the nominations, dialogue with all the stakeholders, facilitate evaluation of these sites and facilitate decision-making for the committee. Let's hope for the best, and thank you again. And I am the one who's going to ask now for a big applaud for all of you.
For the secretariat also, of course, the secretariat also.
Yes, and for the